The most fucked up thing the universe will ever do to you is let you meet the right person at the wrong time. Stay with me.
Have you ever stumbled upon a soul who felt sculpted from the raw clay of your own being, only to realize the two of you could never share the same horizon? Picture meeting someone whose very presence jolts every dormant nerve awake, who speaks fluent dialects of your most secret dreams, who reads the pages you've kept sealed from the world, yet you must still let them drift beyond your grasp. The ache that follows is achingly precise, almost artful, as though the cosmos plotted this crossing not to grant your longing, but to open a hidden door within you, revealing the person you must one day rise to become. Carl Jung, the pioneering psychologist who mapped the hidden territories of the human psyche, believed that nothing in our emotional lives happens by accident. According to Jung, when we encounter someone we cannot be with, someone who ignites our soul but remains beyond our reach, we are not experiencing a cosmic joke or a cruel twist of fate. We are being invited into one of life's most transformative experiences. This is not about romance in the traditional sense. This is about the universe using another person as a key to unlock the deepest chambers of your becoming. Think about that person who haunts your thoughts, the one who appeared in your life like lightning illuminating a dark sky, showing you landscapes within yourself you never knew existed. Perhaps they were already committed to someone else. Maybe the timing was impossibly wrong. Perhaps you lived in different worlds, separated by circumstances that seemed insurmountable. Maybe they were married, maybe they lived across the ocean. Perhaps they were your teacher or your student, or bound by professional ethics that made any relationship impossible. Perhaps they were meant to be a teacher, not a lover. Perhaps they were someone you met briefly in an airport, a bookstore, or a coffee shop, and the intensity of that brief encounter left you questioning everything you thought you knew about connection and possibility. The rational mind tries to make sense of it, to find logical explanations for why something that felt so right could be so wrong. You might tell yourself it was just attraction, just chemistry, just a momentary lapse in judgment. You might try to convince yourself that if you had met under different circumstances, if the timing had been right, if the obstacles weren't there, it would have been different. But Jung would tell you that logic is not the language the psyche speaks. The unconscious mind operates through symbols, through meaningful coincidences, through encounters that shatter our carefully constructed sense of who we think we are. When you meet someone you cannot be with, you are not meeting just another person. You are meeting a mirror that reflects to you the parts of yourself that have been waiting in the shadows, undeveloped and unexpressed. This person embodies qualities, dreams, and potentials that exist within you, but have remained dormant. They are not showing you what you lack. They are showing you what you are capable of becoming. They are revealing to you aspects of yourself that you had forgotten existed. Capacities for feeling and being that you had buried under layers of practicality and self-protection. The magnetic pull you feel toward them is the pull of your unrealized self calling you toward growth, toward integration, toward the fullness of who you are meant to be. Jung called this phenomenon projection, the unconscious process by which we see in others what we cannot yet see in ourselves. But this particular kind of projection is different. It's not about seeing our shadows or our fears reflected to us. It's about seeing our highest potential, our unlived life, our soul's deepest yearnings made manifest in another human being. The person you cannot be with is carrying a piece of your wholeness, and your task is not to possess them, but to reclaim that piece of yourself. The intensity of your feelings for this person, the way they seem to bypass your rational defenses and speak directly to something ancient and primal within you, is a sign that something profound is trying to emerge from the depths of your psyche. It's as if they carry a frequency that resonates with dormant aspects of your being, awakening parts of yourself that have been sleeping for years, perhaps for decades. Your soul is using this connection to wake you up from the trance of ordinary living, to remind you that you are capable of feeling things more deeply, of loving more authentically than you ever imagined possible. This person is not meant to complete you. They are meant to reveal to you that you are already complete, but perhaps not yet fully expressed. They have come to show you what it looks like when someone is fully inhabiting their own life, expressing their authentic nature, fully alive to the possibilities that exist in each moment. The question is not why the universe brought you someone you cannot have. The question is, what is this person's presence in your life trying to teach you about yourself? What part of your nature are they reflecting to you? What aspect of your potential are they calling forth? What dreams have they awakened that you thought were impossible? What parts of yourself have they illuminated that you had hidden away? The answer to these questions holds the key to understanding not just this relationship, but your entire journey of becoming who you are meant to be. The sacred breaking open. The love that breaks you open is not the love that destroys you. It is love that destroys your illusions about yourself. When you encounter someone who touches the deepest parts of your being but remains beyond your reach, you are being introduced to a sacred kind of heartbreak. This is not the petty disappointment of not getting what you want. This is the profound shattering that occurs when your soul recognizes itself in another person, only to discover that the recognition itself was the gift, not the relationship. Jung understood that the most powerful experiences in our lives often come disguised as losses. The person you cannot be with has cracked open something within you that had been sealed shut, perhaps for years, perhaps for lifetimes. They have awakened a capacity for feeling that you may have forgotten you possessed. They have reminded you that you are capable of love that transcends the ordinary boundaries of possession and control. They have shown you what it means to feel alive in every cell of your being, to be present to beauty and possibility in ways you had forgotten were available to you. This awakening is not meant to torture you. It is meant to liberate you from the small, safe version of yourself that you had settled for before this person entered your life. You may have been living on the surface of your own experience, going through the motions of love and connection without fully understanding what you were capable of feeling. You may have accepted relationships that were comfortable but not transformative, connections that were pleasant but not profound. You may have convinced yourself that the kind of love you read about in poetry, the kind of connection you saw in movies, was just fantasy, just artistic exaggeration of what was possible between two human beings. Then this person appeared, and suddenly you understood the difference between loving someone and being in love with the mystery of existence itself. They showed you that love is not just an emotion, but a state of being. Not just a feeling, but a way of perceiving reality. They revealed to you that when you are truly alive, truly present, truly open to another human being, the world becomes more vivid, more beautiful, more full of possibility than you ever imagined. Colors become brighter, music becomes more moving. Even the simplest conversations carry depths of meaning you never noticed before. The breaking open is necessary because the person you were before you met them was not large enough to contain the love you are capable of experiencing. Your heart had to be cracked open to make room for a more expansive way of being in the world. This process is inherently painful because all growth involves the destruction of what came before. The caterpillar must dissolve completely before it can become the butterfly. Your old ways of loving, of being, of understanding yourself had to be shattered to make space for something more authentic and alive. Think about who you were before you met this person. Remember the limitations you had accepted about yourself, the stories you told yourself about what you were capable of feeling, experiencing, becoming. Perhaps you had decided you were not the kind of person who experiences passionate love. Perhaps you had convinced yourself that you were too practical, too reserved, too damaged by past experiences to open yourself fully to another human being. Perhaps you had built walls around your heart so sturdy that you forgot there was anything worth protecting behind them. Jung believed that our greatest wounds often become our greatest sources of wisdom and strength. The person who breaks you open is not wounding you. They're revealing wounds that were already there, wounds that needed to be acknowledged and healed. Perhaps you had closed your heart after previous disappointments. Perhaps you had convinced yourself that deep love was not possible or not worth the risk. Perhaps you had settled for a life of quiet desperation, telling yourself that passion and profound connection were luxuries you could not afford. This person's presence in your life is forcing you to confront these old wounds, these limiting beliefs about what you deserve and what is possible for you. They are not causing your pain. They are bringing your pain to the surface so it can finally be healed. The intensity of your feelings for them is proportionate to the depth of the healing that is trying to occur. You are not being punished by the universe. You are being offered an opportunity to return to wholeness. The love that breaks you open also breaks open your understanding of love itself. You begin to realize that love is not about possession or control, not about getting your needs met or having your desires fulfilled. Love is about recognition, about seeing and being seen, about touching and being touched by the mystery of another human being. The person you cannot be with has given you a glimpse of what it means to love without agenda, to connect without conditions, to be present to another person's essence without needing to own or change them. This realization is both liberating and terrifying. It liberates you from the small transactional understanding of love that keeps most people trapped in relationships that are more about security than growth. But it also terrifies you because it calls you to love in a way that offers no guarantees, no safety nets, no promises of permanence. You are being asked to love like the mystics love, with complete surrender to the present moment, with total acceptance of what is, with no attachment to outcomes. The person who breaks you open is teaching you that the deepest love is not about having someone, but about being transformed by the encounter with them. They are showing you that you can love someone completely and still let them go. That you can be grateful for a connection even when it cannot continue. That you can be broken open by love and emerge more whole than you were before. They are demonstrating that love at its highest expression is not about taking, but about giving. Not about getting, but about becoming. They were never meant to be your forever. They were meant to be your mirror, reflecting to you the parts of yourself that you had forgotten or never fully developed. They came to awaken you to possibilities within yourself that you had allowed to lie dormant. They appeared in your life to remind you that you are capable of so much more than you had been allowing yourself to experience or express. The mirror of the anima and animus. Jung's concept of the anima and animus, the feminine aspect within men and the masculine aspect within women, helps us understand why certain people trigger such intense recognition within us. When you meet someone you cannot be with, you are often meeting an external representation of your inner wholeness. the parts of yourself that have been underdeveloped or suppressed. This person embodies not just qualities that attract you, but qualities that are fundamentally part of your nature that you have been afraid to claim or express. This person embodies qualities that you admire not because they are foreign to you, but because they are familiar to your soul. They represent potentials within yourself that are trying to emerge into consciousness. The creative passion they express so freely mirrors your unexpressed creativity that has been waiting for permission to emerge. The confidence they radiate reflects your inner strength that you have been afraid to claim, perhaps because you were taught that it was selfish or inappropriate. The way they move through the world with authenticity and purpose shows you what it looks like when someone fully inhabits their own life, when someone has permitted themselves to be exactly who they are, without apology. Perhaps what draws you to them is their fearlessness in expressing their emotions, their willingness to be vulnerable without shame. Perhaps they can pursue their dreams despite practical obstacles, their refusal to settle for a life that doesn't align with their deepest values. Perhaps it's their capacity for joy, their ability to find beauty and meaning in simple moments, their natural ability to make others feel seen and valued. Whatever qualities captivate you most about this person, these are reflections of your undeveloped potential. The mistake most people make is thinking that they need this person to access these qualities within themselves. They believe that being with this person will somehow complete them, will give them access to the parts of themselves they see reflected in the other. They think that if they could just be in a relationship with this person, they would become the version of themselves they see reflected in the other's eyes. But Jung would tell you that this is backwards. You recognize these qualities in them because they already exist within you. Your task is not to possess this person, but to develop these qualities within yourself. The intensity of your attraction to this person is your soul's way of showing you what you are capable of becoming. They are not your missing piece. They are a mirror showing you pieces of yourself that you have not yet claimed. They are reflecting to you aspects of your nature that you have been afraid to embrace, perhaps because you were taught that they were too much, too intense, too different from what was expected of you. The reason you cannot be with them is often because you are not yet ready to be with yourself in this fuller, more integrated way. The universe is not keeping you apart to torture you. It is giving you time and space to become the person who is capable of the kind of love you glimpsed in their presence. It is offering you the opportunity to develop within yourself the qualities you admire in them, so that when you do enter into a relationship with someone, it will be as a whole person connecting with another whole person, rather than as someone seeking completion through another. Think about the qualities that drew you to this person. Make a list of what you found most compelling about them. Now consider how each of these qualities might be developed within yourself. The passion you saw in them. Where in your life are you called to be more passionate? What dreams have you been afraid to pursue? What creative expressions have you been holding back? The courage they displayed. What in your life requires more courage? What conversations have you been avoiding? What risks have you been afraid to take? What parts of your authentic self have you been hiding? The way they seem so comfortable in their skin. What would it take for you to inhabit your own life more fully? What would it mean for you to stop apologizing for who you are and start celebrating your unique gifts and perspectives? What would change in your life if you permitted yourself to be as authentic, as passionate, as alive as this person appears to be? This person appeared in your life as a teacher, not a lover. They came to show you what you are capable of, not to give you what you think you need. They came to awaken dormant aspects of your personality, to call forth potentials that have been waiting for the right catalyst to emerge. They came to show you that the qualities you admire in them are not their exclusive possessions, but human possibilities that you can develop within yourself. The longing you feel for them is a longing for the fuller expression of yourself. The love you feel for them is love for your potential, your own becoming, your journey toward wholeness. The connection you experienced with them is a connection with parts of yourself that had been waiting to be recognized and integrated. Jung believed that individuation, the process of becoming who you truly are, often requires encounters with people who activate dormant aspects of our personality. These encounters are not random. They are precisely orchestrated by the unconscious mind to catalyze growth and integration. The person you cannot be with is playing a crucial role in your individuation process. They are helping you to see and reclaim parts of yourself that were lost, forgotten, or never fully developed. The pain of not being able to be with them is the pain of recognizing how much of yourself you have been holding back, how much of your potential you have been afraid to claim. It is the pain of waking up to the reality that you have been living a smaller life than you are capable of living. This pain is sacred because it is the pain of birth, the birth of a more authentic, integrated version of yourself. But this pain is also mixed with excitement, with possibility, with the recognition that you now have a roadmap for your becoming. This person has shown you what is possible when someone fully embraces their authentic nature. They have given you a vision of who you could become if you dared to claim all aspects of yourself. The teacher disguised as love. Instead of focusing on what you cannot have with this person, begin to focus on what you can become because of having known them. Instead of mourning the relationship that cannot be, celebrate the awakening that has occurred. They have given you a gift more precious than any relationship could provide. They have shown you who you are capable of becoming. They have cracked open your world and shown you possibilities you didn't know existed. Now it is your responsibility to honor that gift by doing the work of becoming that person. The relationship you thought you wanted with them was a relationship you need to have with yourself. The love you felt for them was love for your unrealized potential. The connection you experienced with them was a connection with parts of yourself that had been waiting to be recognized and integrated. Think about how you felt when you were in their presence. Remember the version of yourself that emerged when you were with them. Perhaps you were more witty, more confident, more playful than usual. Perhaps you found yourself expressing opinions you usually kept to yourself, sharing dreams you usually kept hidden, and revealing aspects of your personality that you usually kept private. Perhaps you felt more beautiful, more interesting, more alive than you had felt in years. This was not magic. They were performing on you. This was you, responding to being truly seen and appreciated. This was you, feeling safe enough to let your authentic self emerge. This was you, recognizing yourself reflected in another person's eyes and feeling permission to be more fully who you are. The person they saw and appreciated was not someone they created. It was someone who already existed within you, waiting for the right conditions to emerge. They were never meant to be your destination. They were meant to be your guide, pointing you toward the person you were meant to become. They came to awaken you from the sleep of ordinary living, to shake you out of the comfortable numbness that keeps most people trapped in lives that are too small for their souls. They came to show you that there is so much more available to you than you have been allowing yourself to experience. Jung understood that the psyche has its intelligence, its agenda for growth and healing. Sometimes it sends us people who cannot stay, not to punish us but to catalyze transformations that could not occur any other way. The person you cannot be with is an agent of your awakening, a catalyst sent by your unconscious mind to activate potentials that have been lying dormant within you. Before they appeared, you may have been sleepwalking through your life, accepting limitations that were not limitations, believing stories about yourself that were not true. You may have convinced yourself that you are not the kind of person who experiences great love, profound connection, or transformative passion. You may have settled for a version of yourself that was safe but not alive, acceptable but not authentic, functional but not fully expressed. Perhaps you had decided that the version of yourself you presented to the world was good enough, even if it felt flat and lifeless to you. Perhaps you had convinced yourself that asking for more from life was selfish or unrealistic. Perhaps you had accepted that the dreams you had when you were younger were just fantasies that had no place in adult life. Perhaps you had learned to be practical, responsible, and realistic at the expense of being passionate, creative, and alive. And then this person walked into your life and everything changed. Suddenly you remembered what it felt like to be fully alive, fully present, fully engaged with the mystery of existence. You remembered that you are capable of feelings that transcend the ordinary, connections that defy explanation, and love that transforms everything it touches. You remembered that you have dreams worth pursuing, gifts worth sharing, and a unique perspective worth expressing. They reminded you that you are not just a collection of roles and responsibilities, fears and limitations. You are a soul having a human experience, and that soul is far more magnificent than you had allowed yourself to believe. They showed you that you are capable of love that transcends ordinary understanding, passion that ignites everything it touches, and presence that heals and transforms. The awakening they triggered within you is not just about love or relationships. It is about remembering who you truly are beneath all the layers of conditioning, expectation, and self-doubt that have accumulated over the years. They have shown you that you are capable of being passionate, creative, courageous, authentic, and alive in ways you had forgotten or never fully known. This awakening is not meant to be dependent on their presence in your life. It is meant to be integrated into your being so that you can carry it forward into everything you do. The qualities you discovered in yourself through knowing, your capacity for deep feeling, your ability to see beauty where others see only ordinary reality, your willingness to be vulnerable in the pursuit of authentic connection. These are not dependent on them. These are yours to keep and develop, regardless of whether they remain in your life. Jung believed that certain encounters are destined, not in the sense of fate or predetermined outcomes, but in the sense that they are necessary for the evolution of consciousness. Your soul called this person into your life because it was ready for the next stage of your development. You had reached the limits of who you could become within the confines of your old way of being. This person appeared to break those confines open, to show you that you are capable of so much more than you had imagined. They came to shatter your assumptions about what was possible for you, what you deserved, what you were capable of experiencing and expressing. They came to expand your understanding of who you are and what becomes possible when you stop playing small and start embracing the full magnitude of your being. The reason you cannot be with them is often because the work they came to do is complete. They have awakened you to your own potential, shown you what you are capable of feeling and being. Now it is time for you to take responsibility for that awakening, to integrate it into your daily life, to become the person they helped you remember you could be. If you were to be with them now, you might be tempted to remain dependent on them for this feeling of aliveness, rather than claiming it as your own. You might continue to project onto them the qualities you need to develop within yourself. You might continue to look outside yourself for the validation, the passion, the sense of purpose that can only truly come from within. The universe operates through a kind of perfect intelligence that our rational minds cannot always comprehend. Sometimes what appears to be a loss or a disappointment is actually a graduation, a promotion to the next level of your spiritual development. Sometimes the greatest gifts come disguised as the greatest challenges. Sometimes the person who loves you most deeply is the one who refuses to allow you to remain dependent on them for your sense of worth and aliveness. The alchemy of transformation. The person you cannot be with has done their job. They have awakened you to your own magnificence. Now it is time for you to honor that awakening by living it, by embodying it, by expressing it in every area of your life. This does not mean forgetting them or pretending they do not matter. It means understanding that they matter in a way that transcends the personal, that their impact on your life is bigger than any relationship could contain. They have become part of your inner landscape, a permanent reminder of what you are capable of when you are fully alive and authentic. They have awakened you to a way of being that you can now bring to every encounter, every relationship, every moment of your life. The love you feel for them has taught you how to love yourself, how to recognize and honor the magnificent being that you are. The passion they ignited within you has shown you what it means to be fully engaged with life. The connection you experienced with them has reminded you that you are capable of profound intimacy with existence itself. These gifts are yours to keep regardless of whether they remain in your life. They came to awaken you, and they have succeeded. Now the question is, what will you do with this awakening? How will you honor the transformation they have catalyzed within you? How will you live in a way that reflects the magnitude of what you have discovered about yourself through knowing them? The answer to these questions will determine whether their presence in your life was just a beautiful memory or a genuine transformation that changes everything about how you move through the world. The process of integrating this awakening into your daily life is not always smooth or comfortable. It requires you to make changes that may feel risky or uncertain. It asks you to step outside the familiar boundaries of who you used to be and venture into new territory. You may find yourself questioning choices you had previously accepted without much thought. The job that once seemed adequate may now feel stifling. The relationships that once felt comfortable may now feel superficial. The routines that once provided security may now feel limiting. This is normal and necessary. The person who broke you open has raised your standards for what you are willing to accept in your life. They have shown you what it feels like to be truly alive, and settling for less than that aliveness now feels like a betrayal of your own potential. They have reminded you that you are capable of experiencing joy, passion, creativity, and connection at levels you had forgotten were possible. The challenge is to make these changes thoughtfully and deliberately rather than impulsively. The goal is not to blow up your entire life, but to gradually align your choices with your expanded sense of who you are and what you are capable of. This might mean pursuing creative projects you had put on the back burner, having honest conversations you had been avoiding, or setting boundaries you had been afraid to establish. It might mean taking risks in your career, exploring new forms of self-expression, or opening yourself to different kinds of relationships. It might mean finally writing the book you've been thinking about for years, taking the art class you've been putting off, traveling to the place you've always dreamed of visiting. It might mean having the difficult conversation with your partner about what's missing in your relationship, or finally ending the relationship that you've known for years was not serving your highest good. The key is to move toward what calls to you rather than away from what you want to escape. The person who awakened you has shown you what it looks like to live from inspiration rather than desperation, to make choices based on what you're drawn toward rather than what you're running from. They have demonstrated what becomes possible when you stop settling for less than what truly calls to your soul. As you begin to embody more of your authentic self, you may notice that people respond to you differently. Some will be drawn to the new energy you carry, the confidence and aliveness that you're beginning to embody. Others may feel uncomfortable with the changes they perceive in you, especially if they were comfortable with the smaller version of yourself you used to present to the world. This is also normal and necessary. As you become more yourself, you naturally attract people who resonate with your authentic energy and repel those who are only comfortable with your smallest self. The person you cannot be with has prepared you for these changes by showing you what it feels like to be truly seen and appreciated for who you are. They have given you a reference point for the kind of recognition and connection that becomes possible when you stop hiding behind masks and start revealing your true nature. This does not mean that every relationship will reach the depth of connection you experienced with them, but it does mean that you no longer have to settle for relationships based on pretense, convenience, or habit. You now know what it feels like to be met at the level of your soul, and this knowing will guide you toward connections that honor the fullness of who you are. Living the awakened life. The person you cannot be with has given you a glimpse of what becomes possible when you stop playing small and start embracing the full magnitude of your being. They have shown you that you are capable of love that transforms, passion that ignites, and presence that heals. These capacities are not dependent on their continued presence in your life. They are yours to develop and express in whatever ways feel most authentic to you. Living this awakened life means approaching each day with the same intensity and presence you brought to your interactions with this person. It means treating your work, your relationships, your creative endeavors, and even your mundane daily tasks as opportunities for authentic expression and meaningful connection. It means recognizing that every moment is an opportunity to choose aliveness over numbness, authenticity over pretense, love over fear. It means recognizing that every person you encounter is offering you some reflection of yourself, some opportunity for growth and understanding. It means approaching relationships not as transactions where you seek to get your needs met, but as sacred encounters where you seek to give and receive the gifts of authentic presence and recognition. It means seeing every interaction as a chance to practice the kind of love you experienced with this person. Love that sees and honors the deepest truth of another human being. The person who broke you open has shown you what becomes possible when you stop hiding behind the safe masks of social acceptability and start revealing the unique beauty of your authentic self. They have demonstrated that true magnetism comes not from perfection, but from the courage to be fully human, complex, vulnerable, passionate, and real. They have shown you that the parts of yourself you thought were too much, too intense, too different, are actually your greatest gifts. This authenticity is not always comfortable or convenient. It requires you to be honest about your feelings even when they are inconvenient, to pursue your dreams even when they seem impractical, to speak your truth even when your voice shakes. It means refusing to shrink yourself to make others comfortable, refusing to dim your light to avoid standing out, refusing to apologize for the fullness of who you are. But the alternative, returning to the safe, small version of yourself you were before they entered your life, is no longer acceptable. You have tasted what it feels like to be fully alive, and that taste has spoiled you for anything less. The person you cannot be with has ruined you for ordinary love, ordinary connection, ordinary living. They have awakened you to possibilities you cannot now ignore. This awakening is both a gift and a responsibility. It is a gift because it has shown you who you truly are, beneath all the layers of fear and conditioning. It is a responsibility because now you must have the courage to live as that person, to make the choices that honor your authentic nature, even when they are difficult or uncertain. The love you felt for this person, the connection you experienced with them, the way they made you feel more yourself than you had ever felt before. These experiences have shown you what you are capable of creating in your own life when you have the courage to be authentic. They have not shown you something that exists only in the realm of impossible connections. They have shown you what becomes possible in any relationship, any creative endeavor, any moment of your life when you bring the same presence, passion, and authenticity that you brought to your connection with them. This understanding changes everything about how you move through the world. You begin to see that the magic you experienced with this person was not something they possessed exclusively, but something that emerged from the combination of two people being authentically themselves in each other's presence. You realize that you can create this kind of magic in any area of your life where you have the courage to show up as your true self. You start to understand that the person you became in their presence, more confident, more creative, more alive, was not a temporary persona you put on for them. That was your authentic self finally being given permission to emerge. That person exists within you all the time, waiting for you to create the conditions that allow them to flourish. The gift of impossible connection. The universe has a way of bringing us exactly what we need when we need it, even when it doesn't look like what we thought we wanted. This person who feels like they were carved from your very soul, who you cannot be with in the way your heart desires, is actually giving you something far more valuable than a relationship. They are giving you yourself, the full, authentic, magnificent version of yourself that you were always meant to be. They have shown you what it looks like to be passionate about life, to approach each day with curiosity and wonder, to risk vulnerability in the pursuit of authentic connection. They have demonstrated that it is possible to be both strong and tender, both confident and humble, both independent and deeply connected to others. They have revealed to you that love is not about finding someone to complete you, but about becoming so complete within yourself that your love becomes a gift you offer freely rather than a need you seek to fulfill. These are not qualities they possess exclusively. These are human possibilities that exist within every one of us, waiting to be activated by the right circumstances, the right inspiration, the right mirror. This person has served as that mirror for you, reflecting back aspects of yourself that had been hidden or suppressed. They have shown you what you look like when you are fully alive, fully present, fully engaged with the mystery of existence. The question now is whether you will take responsibility for developing these aspects within yourself, or whether you will continue to project them onto others, forever seeking outside yourself what can only be found within. The person you cannot be with is offering you the ultimate gift, the opportunity to become so fully yourself that you no longer need anyone else to complete you. This does not mean becoming isolated or self-sufficient in a cold, disconnected way. It means becoming so whole within yourself that your relationships with others become expressions of abundance, rather than attempts to fill a void. It means learning to love from fullness rather than emptiness, to give from overflow rather than need. When you reach this place of inner wholeness, the pain of not being able to be with this person transforms into gratitude for the role they played in your awakening. You begin to understand that they loved you in the deepest way possible, not by staying and allowing you to remain dependent on them for your sense of aliveness, but by awakening you to your own capacity for passion, authenticity, and love. You realize that if they had been available to you, if the relationship had been possible, you might never have been forced to discover these qualities within yourself. You might have remained content to admire these qualities in them, rather than developing them within yourself. You might have continued to look outside yourself for the source of your aliveness, rather than claiming it as your birthright. The impossibility of being with them has forced you to confront the truth that what you thought you needed from them was actually something you needed to cultivate within yourself. It has compelled you to become the person you saw reflected in their eyes, rather than simply basking in the reflection. It has required you to claim your own power, your own passion, your own capacity for deep love and authentic expression. The eternal echo of sacred encounter. Years from now, when you are living the life they helped you remember was possible, when you are expressing your creativity without apology, loving without conditions, and moving through the world with the confidence and authenticity they helped you reclaim, you will understand why you could not be with them. You will see that they were never meant to be your destination but your doorway, never meant to complete you but to awaken you to your own completeness. You will recognize that every relationship, every creative project, every moment of joy and aliveness you experience is touched by the awakening they initiated. You will see their influence in the way you love more freely, risk more boldly, express yourself more authentically. You will understand that they became part of your inner constellation, a guiding star that continues to illuminate the path toward your own becoming. They came to crack you open so that the light you had been hiding could finally shine through. They came to break you free from the prison of your own limitations so that you could claim the freedom that was always your birthright. They came to remind you that you are not just capable of great love. You are great love, embodied in human form, walking through the world with the power to awaken others to their own magnificence, just as they awakened you to yours. And in that understanding, you will feel not loss, but gratitude, profound, endless gratitude for the gift of their recognition, for the blessing of their reflection, for the sacred disruption they brought to your too small life. You will know that they loved you in the deepest way possible, not by staying and keeping you dependent on them for your sense of worth and aliveness, but by awakening you to the magnificent being you were always meant to become. The person you cannot be with has given you the greatest love of all, the love that sets you free to be fully, authentically, courageously yourself. They have shown you that the deepest love is not about possession or permanence, but about transformation and liberation. They have demonstrated that true love sometimes means letting go, sometimes means saying no to what the heart wants in service of what the soul needs. This is the paradox of impossible love. Through not having them, you gain everything that truly matters. Through loss, you discover what cannot be lost. Through heartbreak, you find the heart that is strong enough to love without conditions, to give without expectation, to remain open even when openness brings pain. Through the agony of separation, you discover the parts of yourself that can never be separated from you. The integration of wholeness. Now comes the most crucial phase of this sacred journey, the integration of everything this person has awakened within you into the fabric of your daily life. This is where the real work begins, where the mystical meets the practical, where the profound insights you've gained must be translated into choices, actions, and ways of being that honor the truth of who you've discovered yourself to be. Integration is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process of alignment, a continuous choice to live from the awakened state this person helped you access, rather than reverting to the smaller version of yourself you inhabited before they entered your life. It requires vigilance, commitment, and perhaps most challenging of all, the willingness to disappoint others who were comfortable with the person you used to be. Think about the specific moments when you felt most alive, most yourself in this person's presence. What was different about how you showed up in the world? Perhaps you spoke with more conviction, shared your opinions without apology, expressed your creativity without shame. Perhaps you allowed yourself to be playful, spontaneous, vulnerable in ways that felt both terrifying and exhilarating. Perhaps you found yourself taking risks, pursuing dreams, engaging with life from a place of curiosity rather than fear. These moments were not aberrations. They were glimpses of your authentic self finally being given permission to emerge. The challenge now is to create those same conditions for yourself without needing this person's presence to activate them. You must become for yourself what they were for you. A source of recognition, acceptance, and encouragement for your fullest expression. This means learning to see yourself through the eyes of love rather than the eyes of criticism. It means developing an internal voice that mirrors the way this person saw you, with appreciation for your complexity, admiration for your courage, delight in your unique perspective. It means becoming your own greatest advocate rather than your harshest critic. The integration process often involves grief. Grief for the time you spent hiding, grief for the opportunities you missed while you were playing small, grief for the relationships you accepted that honored only a fraction of who you are. This grief is necessary and healing. It marks the death of your smaller self and clears the way for your authentic self to fully emerge. But alongside this grief comes excitement, possibility, the recognition that your entire life can now be lived from this place of greater authenticity and aliveness. Every area of your existence becomes an opportunity to practice what this person taught you about being fully human. Your work becomes a canvas for your creativity and passion. Your relationships become laboratories for authentic connection. Your daily routines become rituals of self-care and self-expression. The person who awakened you has shown you that it's possible to live with your heart wide open, to engage with life from a place of wonder rather than cynicism, to approach each day as an adventure rather than an endurance test. They have demonstrated that vulnerability is not weakness, but the birthplace of courage, creativity, and authentic connection. The ripple effect of transformation. As you begin to embody more fully the person this encounter has revealed you to be, you become a catalyst for awakening in others. Just as this person served as a mirror for your own potential, you now become a mirror for others who are ready to remember who they truly are beneath their own layers of conditioning and limitation. People begin to respond to the new energy you carry. They sense something different about you, a depth, an authenticity, a presence that wasn't there before. Some are drawn to this new version of you like moths to flame, recognizing in you something they long to awaken within themselves. Others may feel uncomfortable, challenged by your refusal to play the small, safe games that once defined your interactions. This is the ripple effect of genuine transformation. When one person has the courage to live authentically, it gives others permission to do the same. When one person refuses to settle for less than their full potential, it awakens others to the possibility that they too might be capable of more than they've been allowing themselves to experience. You begin to attract different kinds of people into your life. People who appreciate depth over surface, authenticity over pretense, growth over comfort. You find yourself having conversations that would have been impossible before, sharing parts of yourself that you once kept hidden, pursuing dreams that you once considered impractical or impossible. The professional relationships you form begin to reflect your expanded sense of what's possible. Perhaps you find yourself drawn to work that aligns with your deepest values rather than just your financial needs. Perhaps you begin to express your ideas with more confidence, to take on projects that challenge and inspire you, to collaborate with others who share your commitment to authenticity and excellence. Your creative expression begins to flow more freely, whether through art, writing, music, cooking, gardening, or any other form of creative engagement. You find yourself approaching these activities with the same passion and presence you brought to your interactions with this person. You realize that creativity is not a luxury or a hobby, but a fundamental expression of your aliveness. Even your most mundane daily activities begin to take on new meaning when approached from this place of awakened presence. Preparing a meal becomes an act of love and creativity. Taking a walk becomes a meditation on beauty and possibility. Having a conversation with a stranger becomes an opportunity for authentic connection. The evolution of love and relationship. Perhaps most significantly, your understanding of love and relationship undergoes a fundamental transformation. You can no longer settle for connections based on convenience, habit, or the mere absence of conflict. You now know what it feels like to be truly seen, understood, and appreciated for who you are, and you refuse to accept anything less. This doesn't mean you become demanding or unrealistic in your expectations of others. Instead, you become more discerning, more willing to wait for connections that honor the fullness of who you are. You realize that it's better to be alone and authentic than partnered and pretending to be someone you're not. If you're already in a relationship when this awakening occurs, it may create challenges that require honest conversation and mutual willingness to grow. Your partner may need time to adjust to the changes they see in you, to understand that your growth is not a rejection of them, but an invitation for both of you to become more fully yourselves. Some relationships will grow stronger through this process, as your increased authenticity and aliveness breathes new life into connections that had become stagnant or superficial. Others may not survive the transformation, and this too is part of the sacred process of alignment. Not every relationship is meant to accompany you through every phase of your evolution. The relationships that do endure and thrive will be fundamentally different from those you accepted before this awakening. They will be based on mutual recognition of each other's authentic nature, rather than projection of what you think you need from another person. They will honor both independence and interdependence, supporting each other's individual growth while creating something beautiful together. You begin to understand that the deepest love is not about finding someone who completes you, but about becoming so complete within yourself that your love becomes a gift you offer freely, rather than a need you seek to fulfill. You realize that healthy relationships are not about two incomplete people trying to make each other whole, but about two whole people choosing to share their completeness with each other. Sources of wisdom and power. The pain of not being able to be with this person, the heartbreak of recognizing your own potential while having to walk away from the catalyst who revealed it, becomes a sacred wound that opens you to levels of compassion and understanding you never knew were possible. This wound teaches you that love is not always about getting what you want, but about being transformed by the encounter with another soul. It shows you that the deepest connections sometimes exist beyond the realm of conventional relationship, that two people can profoundly impact each other's lives without ever belonging to each other in the traditional sense. The sacred wound also develops your capacity for empathy and compassion. Having experienced the exquisite pain of impossible love, you develop a deeper understanding of the human condition, a greater appreciation for the courage it takes to love openly, despite the inherent risks. You become more patient with others who are struggling with their own awakening process, more understanding of the time it takes to integrate profound realizations into daily life. This wound becomes a source of wisdom that informs all your future relationships. You understand now that love is not about possession or control, but about recognition and liberation. You know what it means to love someone enough to let them go, to care for someone's highest good, even when it conflicts with your own desires. The sacred wound also deepens your spiritual understanding. You begin to see that some encounters are orchestrated by forces beyond human comprehension, that certain people enter our lives not to stay but to awaken us to aspects of ourselves and existence that we could not have discovered any other way. The return to wholeness. Ultimately, the journey initiated by meeting someone you cannot be with is a journey back to yourself. Not the small, limited version of yourself you thought you were, but the magnificent, unlimited being you have always been, beneath the layers of conditioning and fear. This person has served as a catalyst for remembering who you truly are, but the remembering itself is yours to keep and develop. The wholeness you achieve through this process is different from the wholeness you might have felt before this encounter. It includes the integration of your capacity for deep love, profound connection, and transformative passion. It encompasses your willingness to be vulnerable, to risk, to open your heart fully, even when there are no guarantees. This wholeness is not static, but dynamic, constantly evolving as you continue to grow and discover new aspects of yourself. The awakening this person initiated becomes a launching pad for continued exploration and development. You realize that becoming fully yourself is not a destination, but a lifelong journey of alignment and expression. The person who cannot be yours in the conventional sense becomes yours in a much deeper way. They become part of your inner wisdom, a voice that continues to encourage you toward authenticity and courage long after your paths have diverged. They become a permanent reminder of what you are capable of when you have the courage to love fully and live authentically. In the end, you realize that they gave you the greatest gift possible, not their presence, not their love in the way you thought you wanted it, but the awakening of your own capacity for magnificence. They reminded you that you are not just capable of great love, you are great love itself, walking through the world in human form with the power to awaken others to their own potential for transformation and growth. The person you cannot be with has given you yourself, the full, radiant, courageously authentic version of yourself that you were always meant to be. And in becoming that person, you honor not only the gift they gave you, but the sacred purpose of your own existence. You become a living testament to the power of love to transform, even when, especially when, that love cannot be possessed or contained by conventional relationship. Now it is time to live that truth, to embody that transformation, to express that love in every moment of your beautiful, unrepeatable life.